Welcome to the Cruise Retreat podcast. My name is Rita M. Perez, and I'm a triple certified travel advisor. But more importantly, I coordinate all the logistics to bring your online community offline through world travel. If you've been yearning to put together a group trip, but overwhelmed with all the details that come with planning, I and this podcast are here to help. Ready to transform lives on the open waters of the world? Let's get started. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Solo episode with me today. And that is because I wanted to share my experience. So if you have been missing out on my very lackadaisical Instagram stories recently, I have been like on a roll doing all the things, working like theater jobs, working as a marketer here on Take the Helm, and then working my travel business still. So all the things are in motion. So I haven't been on social media too often recently. And so I wanted to explain just a little bit, not explain, but kind of like give you my teachings, because I feel like everything is a learning opportunity, just like everything can be part of content. So essentially, this is a content piece that I'm creating to help you with your travel businesses of just some of the things that I learned or took away from my experience working a recent Broadway musical that was touring here in the local Orlando area, because I was a merch seller. So I sold like the shirts, mugs, pins, all sorts of things. And I think there are some key teachings that we can learn or utilize or help to remind us that either like to affirm things or adapt certain things from other types of businesses to our travel businesses. So I've written kind of like a list of different things. So I'm sorry if this is a bit scattered, but this is just as it came to me when I've written this list. And so a couple things might be repetitive. So apologies in advance for all that. But I hope that this helps provide you with some confidence. It affirms some things for you and you're like, yes, I can do this. And maybe I could incorporate that, or maybe a certain aspect of my business needs to be looked at for improvements. So the biggest thing, or at the top of my list at least, is pricing. And so I know all of us are kind of like a little like about pricing when it comes to either higher end products or even announcing like how much we want to charge for our own services as management fees or even coaching fees. And I have to tell you that shirts, normal t-shirts, just screen printed shirts at this musical cost $40 a piece. Me kind of knowing a little bit of the ins and outs, I feel like the total cost to make that shirt with the screen printing may have been about $10. So it was like, what? If we're doing math correctly, that's a what? 300% markup? 400% markup? I'm sorry, I can't math. So you can laugh and make fun of me all you want, but it's at least a 300% markup on that shirt. And of course, there's a lot of expenses, because if it's a $40 shirt and the total to make the $40 shirt was $10, you have to take into account all the fees. And this is like just thinking about our fees. Like you may charge a $250 planning fee, be like, yes, it's $250 in the bank. But what money do you have to take out of that fee? You have to pay yourself a salary. You have to pay yourself for all of your technology. You have to pay yourself for like your home expenses, the energy that it takes to consume your laptop or whatever. So while you may think that this is a $30 profit, it really may be less than that when we start figuring out all those types of expenses. Like, how much does a theater get? How much do they have to pay their hourly employees? How much do they have to pay the touring manager? How much does the touring manager cost, to stay in hotels and just general maintenance, because they are touring for the show and all that. So I say this because there's two things. Of course, like we're talking about the expenses in there, but people will buy. It's just like that. There's a lot of people were talking about, like, there's a couple $100 cost for a paper clip that's made by Tiffany's because it's a Tiffany's paperclip, where you could probably get like hundreds of paper clips from the dollar store for $1. And it's all about pricing your item and putting the value on the item based on a lot of different factors. So, I mean, if I go into the Dollar Tree, I'm not expecting to pay hundreds of dollars on a paper clip. But because it's got the Tiffany label, it's probably better quality. I don't even know if it's a usable paper clip, but all those different factors elevate the paper clip versus from a Tiffany's paperclip to a Dollar Tree paperclip. It's very similar if you find a shirt that somebody handmade off of Etsy versus going to see the Broadway show on tour with official people and all that. It's going to cost you more because it's part of the experience. It's part of the elevation. And that is something that we need to consider as travel business owners, that what kind of business owner, what kind of business experience do you want to exude? Do you want to exude a $40 shirt experience, or do you want to exude a $10 shirt experience? It's all up to you, but be confident. I think like that's the other thing, is like be confident. So whenever people asked us how much shirts were, it's $40. Like no ifs, ands, buts. Like there's no discounts or anything to the general public. That's what the price is. And either you're going to pay for it or you're not going to pay for it. You need to have that type of confidence, which kind of like leads into my next point, when you are saying what the price of your services is to your clients. And if you do not feel confident yet charging people $250, which I personally feel is kind of like the baseline, then go lower. Charge $200, charge $150, charge $100. Don't you dare charge less than $100, because you're going to be losing money and losing time at that. But charge at least what you feel confident. Charge it to, I don't know, the next 5 people, and then start increasing your rates and go from there. Because the more people that you service in your travel business, the more confident you're going to get, the quicker you're going to get at doing things, the more efficient, the more relationships. All this builds on your own intellectual property, and you deserve to be compensated for learning all these ins and outs. And that is why people pay you a management fee, because you know far more in advance about the travel ins and outs than they could possibly ever find in the same amount of time, because you are an expert and you have gained shortcuts for your business and for your clients, things that they are not able to do because they do not do this day in and day out. So confidence. The price is the price. Like, don't let people or allow people to make you feel bad. The price is the price. If they can't afford it, they can go to another travel advisor or they can book it themselves. Another cool thing about pricing is to have alternatives. So there were a lot of people that may not have been able to afford the $40 shirt. So there were different types of experience levels, I would say. So you could have bought a keychain for $15, or a magnet for $15, or an ornament for $25 if you couldn't afford the full $40. There were also things that were more than $40, like a hoodie was $70. So give different experience levels to people, especially when you're pricing things out. So maybe somebody wants your full like $500 process and they are willing to pay for that because they don't want to have to do anything themselves. Or maybe as a complimentary service, you give people 30 minutes of your time because you know you'll be getting commission, but anything other than that, they're going to have to pay extra for. Or maybe they just want to have a consultation with you. So for $100 an hour, or however it is that you want to price it out, they give you their different ideas for a travel dream or travel destination vacation, and you give them all the insights that you have to offer and guide them along the way, but don't actually book or plan because they really want to take care of those logistics. So it's important that you kind of have like different tiers to help people out. So is it just a simple consultation? Is it just a book and quick consult? Or is it, I want a whole full experience? So maybe they can't pay you at your 250 level, but they can pay you at your 100 level. You can meet people where they're at without compromising your own time and your own sanity. Another point, be where your people are. And this is for a couple different levels. So it worked for us to be selling thousands of dollars of merchandise within the theater at the time. Like when we think of the product, the marketing matrix, like product, price, place, promotion, it clearly worked in our favor that we sold the musical merchandise at the musical in the theater, because like, hello, like people want to take memories with them. It's part of the experience about going to the theater, seeing the show, and taking a piece of the show with you. If this was or had been, you know, something set up outside or something around the corner, or being like, oh, you can get stuff online, I don't think that sales would have been as much. So be where your people are going to be. So if you want to sell high-end luxury products, then be where those types of people, that mindset of people are going to be. If you want to sell sports trips, then be where the sports people are going to be. If you want to sell family trips, then yes, being a vendor at a family carnival is probably perfect. That's probably not perfect for sports people or luxury people, or even if you specialize in business retreats like myself. The other thing is so there were two different locations in the theater. The main merchandise location was obviously on the first floor in a pretty big, visible and busy location. There was a second location that happened to be on the fourth floor. So everybody's going to be going to the first floor because that's how you enter to get into your tickets. And there's, you know, a lot of bar areas, restroom areas. There's a lot of things that are happening on the first floor. So it's inevitable that you may run into that merchandise location. To help alleviate the busyness of that location, they set up a second location on the fourth floor, which in essence is a really great idea. But if people are not communicating that, which did happen a couple nights, it was kind of a dud for the people who were working upstairs, and then it overwhelmed the people who were downstairs. So thinking logistically, not only, of course, like obviously being at the theater, because that's where you need to be where your people are, but does it make sense as far as like you're investing? So sometimes there are, especially, I'll give you an example from my travel business. I would love to be a vendor at HR types of events. Sometimes those costs are crazy expensive, like tens of thousands of dollars to be a vendor at some of these events. I can't currently afford something like that, but I still want to get in the room to be around the people. So, and this again, similar or same with pricing, is that I can't afford to be a vendor, but I can afford to be an attendee. So I can choose that ticket instead. So I won't get as much visibility as I would have as a vendor, but I'm still around the people that I need to be around, creating those relationships to foster future business for my business. So be where the people are. Branding is so important. And I think, so this musical was Six the Musical, which if you did not know what that musical is about, it's about the 6 ex-wives of King Henry VIII. And the branding was, for someone like myself, it was beautiful, gorgeous, impeccable. There's a lot of purples and golds. It just looked very regal. And if you know color story, purple is a royal color, because back in the day, when they were creating dyes and things, purple was a really hard dye to create in clothing. And so usually the only people that could get a purple item of clothing was someone who was royal or really, really wealthy, because those were the only people that could afford it, which is why in nowadays, present day, purple is seen as a very majestic, elevated color. And so I loved that that was part of the branding. Not only was it that, but like if you look at the font of 6, it is a serif font, which means, man, it is like a Times New Roman font, in the sense that it has like, you know, like those little points on the ends of like the A's and the N's and the M's. Whereas a sans serif font doesn't have the little points at the end. So that type of font also elevates it to a little bit more regal and royal. And so, and we've talked a little bit about branding on here before, but branding is important, and it's not just the look of your logos. As you hopefully could pick up on what I was telling you just now, it is a vibe. It is a feeling. It is an experience. And it helps people to immerse in your own brand. When you go in there, it's just like you just felt so special. And so what kind of vibe do you want to be putting out to your own clients? So different colors give out different vibes. So a red colored branding logo is going to be very different than a blue or a green. Blue is very trustworthy, very, very. Red is very passionate, fierce, very like assertive. And a green is going to be very neutral and nurturing and really just feeling good. So what kind of vibe, when you're thinking of your brand suite, if you're not working with a brand strategist, which I highly recommend that you do, what are the feelings that you want to exude? And you need to relay those feelings and those emotions on the different assets, the different visual assets that you have in your branding. So it's your fonts, it's your colors, it's the different photos. So like in the program, these were all like fierce, feminine photos that just looked freaking amazing. It's all about very much empowering different people. And I mean, just the branding was on point. And I think that is a big reason that helped us to increase our sales, because it was such magnetic branding to the people that are attracted to this musical. It helps increase the sales and it helps to add value. Then the experience. So what kind of experience are you providing to people? And I think, all of the merch sellers that were working with me, one, we love the theater. One, we're oddbally misfit type people. And it's just like a general feeling and sentiment of really being friendly, wanting to help you out, and helping to elevate this experience of going to the theater. And I think that really helped to elevate sales. It helped us to connect with our clients, essentially, the customers that were there buying things. And I just remember, there was this couple, and they were just so cute together. And just like starting a conversation with them about like, what did they think about the musical? What brought them here? Like, is there a special occasion that they're celebrating? There were so many, something for me that's easy to compliment is clothes. And so if I think something is cute, I will point it out. And that just creates an instant relationship that helps that trust factor with other people. So, and that may be hard. It may be difficult. Well, I think it's definitely difficult in a social type environment, but I think there's certain things that people can do to set you up for success almost, and that's with their content. But that's also why I think it's important to meet people in real life, even though that can sound daunting at sometimes, is because you can pick up on those nuances and fun little things and can create a relationship in person based off of just the conversation that you're having, the event that you've met them at, a special wardrobe piece that they're having, or just maybe something that's going on in the area, or even their reasoning for being at this event. All those different types of connection help to build that trust factor. And in the sense, like, now I know who you are, like, hey, we can connect on something on another level, and trust if, we agree or if we disagree or whatever it may be. Now I can trust you and be a little bit more vulnerable and open up to you a little bit more about my desires and all that. So it really helps, like, your personality really helps, and you putting yourself out there first really helps to create that relationship that ultimately will help to drive sales and hopefully even help to increase your sales. So the friendliness, compliments, and just adding little tidbits here and there. Oh, and when I say adding little tidbits, so the crown in the keychain for Six the Musical is a direct replica of the Crown of England. So those are the little tidbits that if we mention those, people will be like, what? That is so interesting. And that might result in a sale or an upsale of a current sale that we were having. So, and we weren't afraid to mention those little things because of how fascinating. I think for me it was easier because I just love the whole like royal background and all that. I'm history buff, I guess, in that sense. And so if it was me, I would have been like, what? Like mind blown. But I feel like sometimes as travel business owners, those are the things that we don't realize that are super special to our clients. So being able to share little tidbits like that can either just elevate their experience or put them over the top that they want to do something more special or add on a tour. It's kind of like, did you know that if you go to Dublin, you can go ahead and visit this location, which was actually the location of this wedding or that wedding or this filming location? Like, you may not have gotten an additional day out of these clients originally, but because you added that value, that extra tidbit that they may not have found somewhere else additionally, like how incredible is that for one? And then how much of a bad booty does that make you look that, oh my gosh, yes, my travel advisor, my travel coach, my travel consultant, they told me about this and I had no idea that this was here and now I'm adding it onto my vacation. Like that just, it helps everybody overall. It helps you create a stronger relationship with your client. It helps your client have a better experience. It helps with referrals. It helps with your sales. So adding those like little fun tidbits to your clients that you think that they might appreciate is part of the experience. The power of networking. So I have told my friends that I'm just looking for different jobs here and there because just, to add more revenue to my general portfolio of things. And so in asking friends for some opportunities is how I found out about this opportunity. And while at this opportunity, because the whole team of us was doing such an amazing job, there's another musical, Hamilton, that is coming to the Orlando area at the end of October, beginning of November. Our merch manager forwarded our names off to that show's merch manager so that they can hire us and schedule us to work that show. How freaking incredible. Like, I wanted to work Hamilton, but I didn't know like how I was going to get in there. And so that referral was incredible because not only was it a referral, because there were some other merch sellers there that could have sent my information off, but to get it from another merch manager, there's just so much credibility. So, and that's kind of why you need to create such a really great experience for your clients, because when you do a great experience for your clients, that referral to another potential client is really impeccably invaluable compared to any other forms of marketing that you can do. The power of word of mouth was just incredible. So being able to, I've already been reached out by the Hamilton department, so I'm hoping to like get some good news shortly. But it is just like, once you know people and you are in with people, you are in. Just keep making sure that you are doing a great job and executing client after client after client. Not only that, when I was at the theater, someone that I used to work with back in the theme parks, I found there. So what another amazing potential into whatever may come. He introduced me to a couple people at the theater. So again, like, don't burn your bridges, which thankfully I try not to do. I can't say that I'm totally free of that, but I try not to do it. So that's another in there. And then again, they were looking for somebody else this past weekend to help with a concert. One of the girls that I worked with at Six the Musical referred my name over, and I was able to work another weekend job. So, I mean, it's so amazing, the power of word of mouth, especially there. I wish I had known the power of word of mouth. And not only that, but just putting myself out there in a situation, like I've never worked at the theater before. I've never worked at a musical, but I do have some experience selling things, you know, being in the travel business, but also being in food and beverage and culinary for years in the theme parks. Like it wasn't totally new to me. But I put myself out there in a whole new way, in something that made me feel uncomfortable because me and downtown were not really friends. I was never like really a downtown person. But it was the sweetest rewards ever because it kicked my butt, but in the best way possible. So if anything that you get out of that, just get out of your comfort zone because you do not know the amount of rewards that can be had when you get out of your own comfort zone. I also have to, you know, think about the whole operation. So setting yourself up for success via systems. And there's a couple different ways that I thought about this. Selecting the product. So a lot of people asked for stickers. We didn't have stickers, but we had pins, which were freaking cute pins too. So they had, each show has to select their own product mix of what they're going to bring based on like really what's popular, what kind of like goes along with their branding, what they think people might like and bring memories, and also have a diversification of product. So when I think about that to when we are selecting travel products that we want to be promoting or that we want to be selling, we just cannot sell everything. Or if we are selling everything, we cannot sell it to everyone. There has to be, you know, this trickle down specialization. Like we have to like funnel down and hone in on the things that either we're really great at doing or servicing the people that we're really great at servicing. So, you know, I can service families, but it is hard for me to talk from a family perspective because I don't have a family. You know, I'm not married. I don't have kids. There's a lot of considerations that I don't think about. So it is best for a family specialist to help that out because they know all the ins and outs of family dynamics. And that's like, you know, we've talked a little bit about this on the podcast about people who are very tuned into wellness, people who are tuned into mental fortitude, mental sanity, or having to deal with people who need assistance with mental wellness, like myself with my autoimmune disease, and having just to be cognizant of those differences. So, and that's why I want you to pare down that you can't be everything to everyone. So where is it that you're really great? Is it a destination that you're really passionate about? Is it a product that you're really passionate about? Is it just like Caribbean or Mexico? Like you just love those items. Or maybe you just love selling expedition ships. Or maybe you love doing African safaris. Like really hone in on what you love doing and why it is you love selling that product, and then also match it with the people that you love selling it for. Is it families? Is it couples? Is it business owners? What really resonates with you so that you can speak loud and clear to the people that essentially do come your show to purchase your stuff. Then trial and error is also really important. So like I was mentioning, where placement is important and the location of where your products are at. So we had the first floor selling and the fourth floor selling. On the last day, because it was going to be load out, meaning that the show was going to be leaving, the first show of the day, there was an area on the fourth floor to sell. And then on the last show of the day, to kind of like ease things for loadout, we brought all that stuff from the fourth floor down to the first floor and pretty much created this mega store on the first floor. That worked so incredibly well, and everybody was like, why didn't we do this from the first day? So, and that's, you know, it's all about processes, trying different things. Like, it seemed to have worked for a couple of days, and like the idea of having two separate locations seemed well, but when you put the locations and the staffing and everybody together, it was just like this super team dynamics, and nobody like really felt overwhelmed because everybody was really supportive. So even if something seems to be working, maybe get like an outside perspective via like a systems or an experience consultant to come in and look at your business, give them the insider scoop of what's going on in your business and how you currently do things and how your workflows are currently set up, and then let them take a look and see if that's really as effective as it should be. Or if you can't afford something like that, maybe just take a quick training. Prep for Wave Week is coming up, and there will be a systems expert on, so you may want to listen into that. But really, just because something has worked for you for so many years doesn't mean that there's not a better process around. So just think about that and be open to trying different things. And if the new thing that you tried is a flop, that's okay. You can go back. Like, you know what the original system is. You tried something new. Things don't have to be done the same way all the time. And I feel like this is a lot of us do a lot of things on like paper, and I am guilty of that myself. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think we need to find a system that kind of works and fits for us, that combines the usefulness of paper with the efficiency of online systems. And so that's my little trial and error. And then the last thing, I think we already talked about this, but the last thing I wrote was upselling. So at every order, we upsold or attempted to upsell a tote bag. So we didn't have like really tote bag or bags to put your items in. So if you wanted to buy something, you had to pretty much hold them. So that was the upsell. I was like, would you like to buy this tote bag so you don't have to carry your things around the theater? And more often than not, the answer was like, yes, I'll buy that bag. I'll add that. There were a lot of people that were like, well, I just spent $100. What's another $15 for a tote bag gonna do? And so I know a lot of us the immediate upsell is travel insurance to protect your investment, because really that is the no-brainer. That is the equivalent to the tote bag. It's a no-brainer to make sure that you're protecting your travel investment. So, and not only that, but you're also adding value, because now they don't have to do a hard thing. Now they don't have to figure out if an accident happens in destination, who they need to be calling. The travel insurance will take care of all of that. Same thing, they don't have to worry about carrying all the little merch items they just bought. It's in their nice little tote bag that they have now. So, man, I did not think that this was going to be that long, but I hope, I wanted to really add in lots of helpful tidbits and relate it to what happened in the theater as to what the real world travel business experience can be. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you've taken something. I hope that you've garnered a little bit more confidence to keep doing what you're doing, or try something new out. Or be like, you know what, I am going to charge that fee, or I am going to try and sell, or maybe I've been trying to upsell my fee to the next $25 and I just haven't, but I'm going to try now because I have the confidence now, the education and the experience to back it up. So let me know, what were your insights from my merch experience working at the theater, and how that related, or how I related it to having your own travel business. As I mentioned, Prep for Wave Week is coming up soon. You can go to travelbiztraining.com to register for that. It is a free 1-week training, and I do have an upsell. You can get a study hall pass, and that is going to be hour-long, either co-working sessions, or we can talk about the day's sessions. It's just going to be hour-long with me and a couple of your travel colleagues. Just getting along, getting to know each other, building relationships, and taking action on the things that we have learned throughout the course of the day. So that really is it for me, for trying to upsell you, get you in this free program and all that. I am going to say sayonara for now, but I hope you have an excellent week. I hope to see you at Prep for Wave Week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks for joining me on the Cruise Retreat podcast. Please subscribe and leave the show a rating so more team and community leaders like yourself can get access to these episodes. See you next week.